Good morning, everyone. My name is Brandon Nathaniel Moses Davis.
And I'm Gia Jambroni.
And welcome to Waffles and Wishes.
Episode 1.
Episode 1. A podcast all about focus. It's about dreams. It's about goals. It's about you, frankly. It's about us as well. We're doing this because we have goals and stuff like that. But it's about your ambitions. It's about trying to figure out how to take some time out for yourself and do that every single Wednesday morning. Or Wednesday night. Or Thursday, whenever you actually get a chance to listen to this. But yeah, it's our first time doing this. It's our first time doing a podcast together.
This is my first podcast completely, so I'm very excited.
I'm pretty pumped for it. Anybody who's listening to this right now probably knows us. So it's probably family, friends, maybe coworkers, which is embarrassing. But if you don't know who we are, we're going to do some quick introductions, and we'll dive into what this podcast is really all about, as we kind of go forward. But Gia, I'm going to let you start by introducing yourself.
All right. So like I said, I'm Gia. I've been living in Boston for the last 2.5 years. Prior to that, I was living in the very rural and very beautiful Vermont. I do not know how to ski and snowboard, though, so don't ask. I currently work at HubSpot, a tech company in Boston, as a campus recruiting and events coordinator. My passions. I'm really trying to figure out what my passions are, which is why I'm really excited for this podcast to explore that with all of you. Some that come to mind right away are learning. I've always loved school and really believe in continued skill development and education, so hoping to share that with people in some way. Yeah,
so we're not reading off a script or anything like that. But I have like a nice little notes and things like that. So there's like name, location, where do you work, and then passion. And yeah, a lot of this podcast is going to be around like passions and like trying to figure out how to take a passion and turn it into goals and actually do those things. As Gia mentioned, she works at HubSpot. I also work at HubSpot. I'll just do my introduction. My name is Brandon Nathaniel Moses Davis. First name Brandon, last name Davis, and those two middle ones are middle names, which maybe we'll get to one day. But I also live in the greater Boston area. I live in Arlington, which is like 30 to 45 minutes away, depending on the day. I am a technical campus recruiter currently. I've worked here for about a year and 8 months or something like that at this point. Passion of mine, I would say, is the video game industry. One thing I'm really excited about doing this podcast with you is because I think we're very different. Yeah. At the same time, we're like pretty similar in a lot of ways, but I mean, we have vastly different interests.
It'll be very different perspectives, which will be nice.
Agreed. So now that you know a little bit about us, I definitely want to kind of dive into what this actually is. Again, why Waffles and Wishes. I just posted this on Instagram like a week ago. Oh, literally a week ago. Yeah. And a lot of people are like, what is this? Why waffles? Why wishes? And that's what this episode particularly is about. I already mentioned like this podcast is like it's a podcast around helping you be the best you can possibly be, right? Helping you focus on your goals, your passions, your health, whatever the case may be. But in terms of the title, why waffles?
Well, waffles comes from a very interesting tradition at HubSpot. Mm-hmm. Every Wednesday at HubSpot, they have a waffle station set up. And the flavors of the waffles are always different. Sometimes they're themed. They're really fun. Today I have an Oreo waffle. I'm very excited about it. Brandon always gets the gluten-free waffle.
This is true, yeah. We got gluten-free waffles as well. Vegan gluten-free waffles. I'm not a vegan necessarily, but it's cool that they, nice and inclusive.
Yes, lots of options for that. But I think one of the reasons why we're doing waffles is because it's a time that we spend together every Wednesday, just to chat and decompress and hang out. So it is a tradition that we do for ourselves, both for the enjoyment of just loving waffles, but also some personal time.
Yeah, and obviously, like, everyone doesn't need to grab a waffle. Like, if you're, I don't know, if you are working on Wednesdays and you get up at 6 o'clock to go to work, you're probably not going to make yourself a waffle. But, like, the idea is just that, like, when you get a waffle, like, when you're like, you know what, I'm going to go to, like, I don't know, brunch and grab a waffle, or Waffle Wednesdays at HubSpot, or you just have like some toaster Eggos, whatever. Like, you grab your waffles because that's what you want. You know what I mean? Like, waffles aren't necessarily particularly healthy, and we'll talk about health, throughout our podcast. But like, you grab them because you want to be happy, and I think it has been a source of happiness for the two of us.
Yeah.
Is that like that's not how we met, but it's how we like kind of got closer, I would say.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, do you go to Waffle Wednesday? And if anyone's interested in learning more about Waffle Wednesday, this isn't a HubSpot podcast, by the way. We just both work at HubSpot. But WaffleWednesday.com is actually like a website talking about Waffle Wednesday if it's something you want to do at your job or something like that, or even just like for your family and your friends or whatever. It's something that's cool, and it doesn't obviously have to be on Wednesday. But yeah, that's why waffles. A nice, really intricate introduction to why waffles and wishes. The Oreo one's good.
Oh, it's amazing. I'm actually just eating the Oreo bites out of the waffle, so no shame.
Yeah, they always have like different waffles and tons of different toppings. I in the beginning, I used to just like make my waffle and then put a ton of fruit on it. We have like a giant, massive bowl of like just fresh fruit. And I used to just just load it up with fruit and then like pour maple syrup on it. Don't judge me.
I think my surprising favorite was the Thanksgiving waffle. So there were waffles, and they had mashed potatoes, stuffing, cranberry sauce that you could either cook inside your waffle or put it on top.
I must have not been here
Sounds
for that.
gross.
No.
It was incredible.
That's great. I'm from New Jersey originally. Fun fact for everyone out there. Again, my family already knows this. And they have Wawa. If you guys want to Wawa, it's like a really nice 7-Eleven. Imagine 7-Eleven, but like just 10 times better.
Okay.
In every way. Wawa's the best. And they have this thing called the turkey gobbler, and it's like a sandwich that's just like Thanksgiving in a sandwich. And it's incredible.
Year-round, though.
Yeah. I don't know if it's year-round.
Okay.
But I just love it. I absolutely love it. So that sounds dope. I like it. So that's why waffles. Let's move forward to why wishes. Why is the word wishes involved in our podcast? Also, what wishes? Like, what are we talking about when we're talking about wishes? Honestly, the reason that it's wishes is alliteration. Like the original plan was actually just for us to have this thing called Introspective Wednesdays, and maybe you should tell the story of kind of how everything got started in the first place. This is the origin story of waffles and wishes.
How it all came to be.
Yeah.
So Brandon and I were chatting one day, and we discovered that we both had this book. It is called The 52 List Project. It's a book that it's basically just consists of all different lists that you fill out once a week, and they can be, write down routines that you enjoy in your life, write down routines you don't enjoy in your life, write down moments that make you happy, moments that bring you joy, moments that made you sad. And then it really challenges you throughout that next week to think about those things that you wrote down. So how can you introduce more joy into your life? How can you change up your routines? How can you, introduce exercise or whatever it is? And so we realized we both had this book, and we had it for last year. And we also both realized that over the course of the year, we hadn't filled out more than a few pages, which is just crazy, right? Like, take a little bit of time once a week to think about yourself and how you want to improve your life. And we didn't make the time to do that for ourselves. And so we both kind of realized it was something we wanted to do. We're together every Wednesday when we eat waffles. Why don't we fill it out together then? It'll be a motivator to make sure we do it. And then Brandon had this wonderful, generous idea of, well, let's share all these ideas with other people. I'm sure other people, leading crazy busy lives are having the same struggles we are with making time for themselves, thinking about their lives and what they want. So let's share this with all of them and provide an opportunity and a space for everyone to take time for themselves.
Yeah, the idea isn't necessarily to like use this book in particular, the 52 Lists Project book, but it's just kind of what started things. I've got a ton of journals. I'm sure a lot of you guys have a lot of different methods and tools to kind of keep yourselves on track for whatever goals that you might have. And just I have the book right here, so I just kind of wanted to give you guys a little bit of information about it. It's a year of weekly journaling inspiration, which is something I struggle with. I like journaling. My mother has been journaling since I've been born, I'm assuming. I just can't remember her never not journaling. And yeah, basically it just goes through each season. So like it starts with winter, obviously being like January. And there's 13 lists for the first one for all of winter. And there's different things, like you said, like list your goals and dreams for the year, list your favorite characters from books and movies. And that may seem kind of like random at first, like why would you list your favorite characters? But then afterwards it says take action, and it says find a common personality trait between your favorite characters. Yeah. And why do you think that is, and which ones do you admire? So I absolutely love this book in particular, but there's tons of different books that we're going to cover and talk about, and different tools and stuff like that. But yeah, and just as a reminder, like the podcast is again about, again, not about this book in particular, but it's about any goals that you have. So health always comes up, I think, for most people, just because you're spending so much time at work or doing whatever else you're doing. And so it's we want to make sure that we can kind of tackle those subjects. Yeah,
definitely. And I think, as Brendan mentioned, wishes was originally chosen for the purpose of alliteration. It sounds great with waffles, but I think, your wishes and your dreams, they are big driving factors, to discover your passions and to make changes in your life. So while it may not be the most comprehensive word, I think it's definitely a good one, and one that we're going to stick with for now anyway. So
yeah. Before we get to the last part of our podcast for today, and this is just our first episode, so we wanted to do like a introduction and things like that. I did want to kind of mention something else as well, and that's you guys, everyone who's listening to this, whether you're listening to this on, I'm assuming it'll be on, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. It's not going to be on Instagram because you can't listen to things on Instagram. Well, you can, but anyway. Wherever it is, LinkedIn, we'd love feedback. Definitely. We would absolutely love feedback. My goal for this podcast is for it to never go over 30 minutes. This episode's not going to be nearly 30 minutes. I totally thought it was going to be. That's okay. But when we really start to dive into content, I never want it to go over 30 minutes. I want this to be something you can listen to on a commute, during lunch, or something like that. But if there's something that you want to hear from us, if there's something you want us to cover, let us know. I'm used to saying in the comment section below, but wherever that is, I don't know exactly how everything works. Obviously, there's a whole bunch of platforms, but they'll all be connected. And so anything that you guys want to tell us to look at, let us know. There's already multiple books that I know you want to cover, Gia, and I definitely want to cover, but that includes movies and videos and songs and whatever. If you feel like it has something to do with making you a better version of yourself, whether that means being healthier or financially fit, or whether that means trying to obtain a goal that you've been trying to do for the last 10 years and you haven't been able to get up and start doing it. Anything that you guys want us to do, we'll definitely look into it. A podcast is nothing without the people that actually listen to it.
Absolutely, definitely.
Cool. So let's get into the last portion of today's episode. Today's episode 1 of the best podcast ever, Waffles and Wishes, and that's the future of Waffles and Wishes. Again, every episode's not going to sound like this, we literally just have a list of kind of things that we're interested in diving into when it comes to the future of Waffles and Wishes. That includes content and otherwise. So I guess we can kind of just go back and forth. Yeah. I can kind of start. I was thinking about this as I was kind of working on the notes and stuff. And I'd love a great nickname for this show. If anyone has an idea at all, comment section, whatever, please tweet at me, whatever. Oh, my Twitter, by the way, is Brandon NM Davis, which I probably should go put places so people can tweet at me. That's probably the easiest way to actually get a hold of me, frankly.
And mine is at GGIAMBRO, G Jambro. It's my tag for everything.
G Jambro. Okay,
so you can find me. That's how you find me on any platform.
Perfect. We'll share that around the internet as well. That way it's a little bit easier. But I'm looking for a nickname for the show. I can't think of anything. W2 reminds me of taxes. W squared sounds lame. Just one of the words like waffles seems weird. Hey, did you guys hear the latest Waffles episode? It just doesn't seem as...
Yes. We're obviously starting with the most important topics here.
Right. But if anyone has an idea for a nickname for the show, just because Waffles and Wishes is long.
It is a bit of
I've already messed it up by saying Waffle Wednesdays just because... it's on Waffle Wednesdays. So if anybody has any ideas, definitely let me know that. Yeah, is there anything else that you want for the future of Waffles and Wishes? There's a whole list, so whatever.
I'll just jump right in. I think as Brendan mentioned, when we first thought about this, we were calling it Introspective Wednesdays. And I think when we think about introspection, it's going to be a lot more than self-reflection. I think for me, how I think about it is kind of getting reacquainted with parts of yourself that you forgot about, or parts of yourself that maybe you didn't know were there. So I think kind of some reflection and getting to know yourself a little bit better, I think, is one thing that we definitely want to explore.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I mean, I have like a list of different ideas that we want to go down. Introspection, gratitude, goals, passion, finding your why, health, being healthy, meditation, and then maybe diving into things that are not obscure, but just a little bit off of the personal portion. Like entrepreneurship, for example. I don't ever want to like dive into anything that can't be helpful for everyone. But, one thing that I want to do, I guess this is kind of a bit of a segue, is bringing guests. That's a huge thing. Yeah. Here, just being in HubSpot, there are some incredibly talented and smart individuals here. That'll probably be the beginning of our guests, but after a while, we'll probably branch out to all sorts of different people, whether they are, students or, CEOs or whatever the case may be. But people talking about their own ventures into their own goals or their own businesses or whatever, and talking about how they set goals for themselves and how they were able to obtain that, how they were able to figure out that was their passion and follow that. So hopefully we can kind of bring in some guests, go through a lot of those things, and share best practices, share the best methods and tools that we're using, like, for example, these notebooks and things like that, and possibly following those as well. Another thing that we have kind of written down is like real stories from ourselves and guests. So, you guys know that we're going to use lots of different like books and things like that. And if we, for example, go through this 52 List Project book, we're going to give you updates on it. Like, hey, like in the first episode, we mentioned this book. It's been a month now, and we've been doing it, and we're really, really enjoying it. And so we can recommend it to you guys, or we can say, I absolutely hate this book. I think it's terrible, but we're going to be honest with you guys. So
definitely. And we can include you in those exercises as well.
Yeah.
If we read a list and as you said, I think it was list your favorite characters, and we're gonna this week, we're gonna think about that and find a common thread. You guys can challenge yourself to do that for a week as well, and we'll come back and we'll talk about how it went, and we'd love to get your feedback on how it went. So definitely, if we put these exercises out there, definitely participate with us and challenge yourself. And hopefully we'll all get something really great out of it.
I absolutely love that idea, by the way. We're probably going to do that now.
Okay.
Every single episode, like, just put out a list and just be like, hey, you guys do it too.
I mean, it can be beyond the book, but I just think having something that carries you through the week. I mean, definitely taking the time now is amazing, and you should thank yourself for that any time that you make the time for yourself. But challenging yourself to go a little bit further and try to carry it throughout the week, I think, could be really beneficial. So
yeah. Awesome. Cool. Well, I don't have too much else to talk about. I mean, I think that we've kind of gone through everything. We talked about the podcast overall. We introduced ourselves, talked about why waffles, why wishes.
Also very important.
And, of course, the future of it. And again, just to reiterate, please, if you guys have any thoughts on this podcast, ideas that you want to see or hear, we're going to give this the best shot that we possibly can, put all the energy and effort that we can every single Wednesday morning or Tuesday night, depending on when we need to record it, and get it out to you guys. So I'd love to hear your guys' feedback. Outside of that, thank you so much for listening to the first episode of Waffles and Wishes. I have never thought about an outro to this show, but keep on dreaming.
Well, thank you so much. We hope we've gotten you really excited about it, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, thanks so much, guys.